Alright, so yes, we are live again. Hopefully I'm not going to fuck it up this time. Can anybody hear me okay? I'm going to assume so because I'm actually getting mic feedback in the Streamlabs thingy. But yes, how is everybody doing? Yes, it is Larsen Live 319, and how are we all today? That song was the Corridor of Time cover by the Phoenix Project on the Resolution Trigger album. I don't know, it's some old video music I have. I mean, of course I know the game. It's Chrono Trigger, The Kingdom of Zeal, 12,000 BC. Oh, I miss when games didn't suck. You know, we talked all about those Skinner boxes last time. But anyway, what's in the news? First of all, the internet bodybuilding and weightlifting sphere. Some silliness happened there. To the surprise of absolutely nobody with a IQ above room temperature, and IQ, gotta get my conjunctions and conjugation right, Instagram star the Persian Hulk turns out to be nothing of the sort. He's just a pudgy, short manlet. I'm not at all surprised, and it astounds me how so many people were fooled by him. Like, I'm sorry, have you ever seen anybody built like that? He has the proportions of a superhero, and yet he has no striation or definition in his muscles whatsoever. Yeah, it turns out all his gains were photoshopped, and he's just a short, fat man. I don't know his actual name, and I don't care to know it. For those of you who are not aware, the Persian Hulk was an Instagram personality who posted all these videos of him like flexing his very obviously photoshopped muscles and doing feats of strength while wearing like tarps so nobody would notice how he doesn't look at all like his pictures. And then apparently he deluded himself into making an appearance in person, and to nobody's surprise, he looks like absolute shit. He's apparently going to have some kind of fight with English bodybuilder Martin Ford. At the press conference, Ford shoved him and he flew back like 50 feet. Yeah, no. It really upsets me profoundly that so many people were fooled by this. It's not that hard to notice photoshopped muscles if you have any bodybuilding experience at all. You know what this dude literally looked like? He looked like in a cartoon when a character's fat, but he kind of like lifts up his fat to make like a muscular shape. That's what his photoshops literally look like. If you fell for this, you are an idiot. There's a lot of non-engagement there. Can everybody hear me okay? I mean, I'm looking at the Streamlabs and it says my mic is, on full-on blast, so I'm going to assume everybody can hear me. Are we good? I sure hope so. And I'm just going to... Yeah, I'm just kind of playing it back on my computer. It seems okay. Anyway, yeah, since we're on the topic of celebrity news, let's talk about another celebrity. Not Hollywood losers, a real celebrity. A celebrity who contributed to the world. A professional wrestler. Scott Hall, the namesake of a building on Rutgers College Ave, citation needed, has passed away sadly due to complications from surgery. That's a damn shame. You go through all those years of drug abuse, you get over it, and then surgery kills you. Well, rest in peace, pal. And speaking of Hollywood losers, the buggy-eyed weirdo du jour, Pete Davidson, brands Kim Kardashian's name into his flesh. They are dating, but I like to specify that is a brand. Not a tattoo, mind you, a brand. Hey, remember when I was talking about Berserk last week? I mean, no reason I brought that up. Why would I think about Berserk when I'm talking about Kim Kardashian? I mean, Berserk is a franchise all about demons branding people with the mark of sacrifice to feast upon them. I don't know what that has to do with this at all. I mean, it's just a boyfriend branding himself for his girlfriend. Yeah, no. I'll just say it. I never found her particularly attractive. Her ass is fake. Fake diaper butts don't do it for me at all. Now, it's not to say that I don't appreciate a nice pair of buttocks and all, but it's got to be real, and it's got to be natural, and it's got to be well-shaped and proportionate, and hers is absolutely none of those things. Give me 1 second here. I'm just going to flippity. There we go. I mean, just fake body parts, they don't do it for me. Whether it be fake asses or fake titties or fake lips or anything. It's disgusting. I'm not turned on by horrible mutant women. I don't care what society tells me to be into. In serious news, actual serious news, and here's we're getting to what the title of the stream is. The results are in for the San Francisco School District's detracking initiative. Detracking, for those of you not aware, is a method of trying to close that racial achievement gap and achieve equity by just getting rid of grading and getting rid of advanced placement courses and what have you. The results were a complete goddamn disaster. Surprise. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm kind of playing the stream back for myself because I'm not getting any responses, and I don't know, maybe I'm just a little paranoid about that. I just hope people can hear me. Okay, but anyway, the results were a complete disaster. Surprise. Summing up, and I quote, summing up, Black and Hispanic 11th graders in San Francisco score about the same as or lower than the typical 5th graders who took the same math test. The situation is appalling. This is written a little vaguely, in my opinion. I'm not entirely sure what typical 5th grader means. Does it mean white and or Asian? I mean, that is kind of what you would typically associate with the SF Bay. I mean, one would jump to that conclusion, considering it's the Bay. But the study doesn't really specify what typical 5th grader means exactly. The black-white and the Hispanic-white gaps grew from 2015 to now as well. Of course, Asian gaps aren't mentioned because nobody gives a damn about Asian people at all. But yeah, it's kind of interesting how, like, codename Babylon, arguably the most liberal place in America, the San Francisco Bay, has like these enormous achievement gaps, much greater than some red state. This topic, as the title of the stream would imply, is going to take up a good amount of time since, for obvious reasons, this topic is very important to me, so gird your loins. If you don't want to hear me ramble on about the school system, well, you can head out now, I suppose. Okay, as we all know, the American education industry, which is not to say the schools themselves, I mean the industry prominently of textbook editors and think tanks and useless garbage surrounding the schools, that industry literally revolves around finding increasingly more convoluted schemes to close the racial achievement gap. Looking at PISA scores, we see that all the racial groups in America do tend to score more or less on par with their respective peers. By that I mean, Asian Americans do about as good as Asian countries, white Americans do about as good as the average European country, and blah, 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 so on and so forth. But these gaps must be closed so that everybody's equal, and the education industrial complex will not stop until it does. The irreversible decline of American educational standards won't ever stop, period. Because, let's be honest with ourselves, ferocious national drives to make equity never succeed in bringing everybody up, but they do sometimes succeed at tearing everybody down to the lowest common denominator. Could somebody say something in the chat? I'm slowly going insane here. If somebody can hear me, if you can hear me talking, somebody please just say hello or anything in the chat. I mean, I hope I'm not just losing my mind. Am I just yakking to myself here? I mean, I'm going to talk no matter what, but, sure would be nice to have an audience. Okay. Okay, great. Thank you. I'm not losing my damn mind here. Good. Okay, some of you might be saying, Larsen, you're a teacher. Yes, I'm a damn good one if my many, many 5-star reviews in music teaching mean anything. What suggestions do you have to fix the dismal state of American education, you might be asking? Ah, Christ, why don't you just have me clean out the Augean stables while you're at it? While I suppose the American education system and that particular labor of Hercules are pretty similar, and that they both involve a seemingly unstoppable deluge of horse shit, yeah, I suppose I will tackle this topic the best I can. I mean, what would I do to fix the American education system? Well, first of all, let's acknowledge that IQ is real and that some people are less intelligent than others. And no, Susan, I'm not talking about race. I'm speaking individually. Individuals vary greatly in individual capacity, and few things annoy me more than that stupid liberal everybody can learn crap. Anybody that's, gotten some fresh air in the last week will point out the very obvious fact that some people really aren't capable of learning academically beyond the 8th grade or so. So, here's a rough idea of what I would do if I were suddenly given control over the entire educational system. And let's pray that someday that does happen. Alright, step 1 is, in contrast to all this talk of, 8th grade and high school I've been doing, we're going to revamp youth education first. The wee children, meaning from K to 8, they will receive a proper Ciceronian education, and I am sounding unbelievably square when I talk about this. Ciceronian education. More than anything else, it will teach them how to think. Critical thinking skills and fundamental life skills they can use into adulthood. Reading, writing, arithmetic, geometry, foreign language immersion, sex education, basic engineering and physics to know how shit works. And by the way, when I say sex education, I don't mean for the little kids, I mean for middle schoolers, when they need it. Computer science fundamentals, cooking and nutrition, geography, music and the arts, financial literacy, philosophy, and etc. Now, obviously, some of that's way too advanced for little kids, but like I said, K to 8. By the time they're 13 or so, they should be able to learn these things. Kids are much smarter than we give them credit for, and obviously this curriculum would have to be hashed out. These are just rough ideas. Hey, remember when the early days of the American public school system, going back to the founders of this country? It was literally modeled on the Cicero model. Have you ever seen a final exam for 8th graders in the state of Kansas at the turn of the 20th century? I know for a fact most college students couldn't pass that exam today. Okay, Danny Summers says, IQ depends on environment. Yes, we all know that's true. Wink. Like I said, it's not a racial thing, it's an individual thing. I mean, if you really, I don't know what kind of bougie private schools like these liberal commentators went to, but if you didn't figure out on the first day of kindergarten that some people are smarter than others, again, I speak individually, not racially, you are an idiot. Is there anything worse than an overly educated idiot? I don't think so. Anyway, a lot of what kids learn in their younger days is absolute crap they never really use, so why not teach them fundamentals that they'll use their whole lives? The obvious reason being that the powers that be don't want intelligent, critical thinking citizens. They want dull-eyed morons who are just barely smart enough to produce food and keep the machines running. What? And obviously the fact, here's another little dirty secret, that a lot of elementary school teachers, they're 1,000 cock-stare college sluts who don't know how to use basic math, or do basic math. I'm kind of getting tongue-tied here. That's kind of a problem. We got to get them out of the way. And while we're at it, let's also clear out the, the horny, horny the elf teachers who bang their teenage students. I'm sorry, it's wrong. I've never been one of those assholes like, hey man, wish I had those teachers. No, it's not cool. Also the Common Core thing. I feel like this is all vaguely related, but yes, get rid of the Common Core crap too. A nagging schoolmarm is a nagging schoolmarm, even if she has rainbow hair, borderline, and is sucking your dick. A lot of teachers really don't deserve any praise or adulation, and I say that as a teacher. But let's deal with the overall curriculum and methods of teaching first, then we'll deal with human resources. Oh, and let's not drop phys ed from school, shall we? We can't forget phys ed. And when I say phys ed, I mean we're bringing back the La Sierra Calisthenic program, bitches. The hell with those furniture dolly games, which I always hated as a kid because they're stupid. Get ready for the grip swing. Yes, I do like seeing a gym class of teenage boys that look like the goddamn Navy SEALs. I like it in a platonic sense, not a sexual sense. Yes, I like big heaving womanly bosoms. Mens sane corpore sano, bitches. I've said this before, but, goddamn, mid-century California looked like a goddamn utopia to me. And honestly, most people too, because like that really is the visual that people have when they think of like anything good in America, isn't it? Like 1950s, 1960s California. I mean, I know it's obviously like to an extent a Hollywood illusion, but yeah, I mean, there were some good things as I've discussed in many, many live streams and videos. Anyway, step 2. Step 2 is placement exams for high schools. You pass the exam, you get into a high school that prepares you for college. Class placement is based upon your scores, based on subject matter or what have you. You don't pass, you can go to vocational school and learn a trade. And of course, people who score well on placement exams, they can also voluntarily go learn a trade should they desire it. And if you fail the exam, you can take it as many times as you want to get into the college prep school. It's just like the praxis exams for employment. You go to a testing center every month or so, and you take that exam to transfer into the CP school if you want. The exam in question would be a series of IQ tests, let's say 3 different kinds of IQ tests, like a Raven's Matrices test, a Wonderlic, and a Stanford Binet, just throwing things out there. Then you can average out the scores to get a rough idea of IQ. Basically, anybody with an IQ above the national average can go to the CP school. I should really stop saying CP, I should say college prep. And those below average don't. But again, if you wanted to learn a trade as a high IQ student, you're more than welcome to. Okay, I want to keep everybody's options open. So once you're in the college prep school, then you start learning in-depth shit. Physics, chemistry, biology, calculus, trigonometry, algebra, history, political science, creative writing, literary analysis, intensive arts programs. We're not doing like taping bananas and condoms to the wall here. We're doing real, arts programs. Hard music theory and songwriting, symphonic composition, anatomical drawing, sculpting, etc. You explain why you're learning these things, how they are useful, and you hit it hard. Ideally, these things will prepare the student for standardized testing to get into college, while also not reducing education to a bunch of rote standardized testing. The foundation from K to 8 would, as I said, teach them how to think and be open-minded and be inquisitive. It's a shocking thought, I know. The vocational schools will be equally rigorous, hitting it hard and explaining in both theory and hands-on practicality what you'll be learning. These would predominantly be skilled trades, like electricians, plumbing, carpentry, leatherwork, ironwork, cobbling, mechanical repair, so on and so on. Giving the students hands-on, on-the-job learning so they can get good paying work the second they leave high school. They don't have to go to college. Now, of course, the big elephant in the room is, well, there's several. Actually, part of the reason why we overproduce elites is, among other things, that foreign investors park millions of dollars in America and jack up housing prices, which means that more people feel the need to get to college just to survive. Look, the rot in America is extremely deep, and there's a growing part of me which says just, burn it all down and, start over again. In a peaceful way, Susan. But yes, the big elephant in the room, school-wise, is that, whether it be nature or nurture, this country has an enormous population of feral, unteachable morons. Again, that's not a racial thing, that's a cultural thing, Susan. Yeah, those people wouldn't cotton to either academia or a trade. For now, let's just kind of shunt them into a proverbial box because we're not allowed to just take them behind the shed and put a bullet in them. I'm kidding, Susan. Kidding. But first, let's talk about the benefits to both schools. Not having a school full of shitheels dragging everybody down will make for a much better learning environment for all races, for both the jobby and the academic. And it might actually close that achievement gap. At least reduce it significantly. Like I said before, I feel a good amount of school dysfunction is just that. Many people aren't made to do higher learning, and the trades will certainly ameliorate a good amount of that, at least. There is great nobility in being a skilled tradesman and being your own boss. There is no nobility whatsoever in being a grunt laborer for 16 hours a day, but that's a whole different story. That's a story I'm intimately familiar with. Also, it's worth pointing out that pretty much every great American president up until, like, the 1890s basically said, like, we're very much against wage slavery. We're against, like, working for labor. The ideal is to open up your own business or your own farm or, be your own boss. We don't want to have a country full of, like, serfs toiling for the boss. Well, looks like we failed their vision. We failed Lincoln's. We failed Jefferson's vision. Bravo, America. But yes, what to do with the ferals? Well, a lot of that problem could be solved by paying the lumpen proles to get sterilized. It's paid, Susan. It's voluntary. I mean, does it sound a little crazy? A little bit, yeah. But, does anybody have any better ideas? Give them a nice big, $10,000 tube tying bonus. And I really feel that a lot of the lumpen proles would go for it. I really do. And, I really hate to see a bunch of, feral moron children being raised by feral moron parents running around in this country. And, that would make this country a lot better. But then we still have at least one generation of ferals. And what do we do with that? Well, you got to start early with the discipline. Again, it all goes back to K to 8 education. I believe that children are our future. And that future could be either Star Trek or it could be Mad Max. Let's hope it goes one way, not the other. Again, some of the problem could be ameliorated by be fixed by enforcing strict but fair discipline standards from an early age. You'll probably notice again that I keep fixing things in like little increments, so to speak. Saying some of the problem will be fixed, some of the problem. Yeah, I don't have any big ticket solutions, but I feel if you ameliorate, 2% of the problem here, 5% over here, 3% over here, eventually it adds up, and you're going to have a big reduction of the problem. Same advice I would give to people, trying to lose weight. Like walk just, a quarter mile more each day, and eventually, you'll build up your stamina. And of course, nobody listened to me when I was a personal trainer, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, some will remain feral because, well, a lot of it is just the culture at home. There's going to be some people who escape the paid, lumpen prole removal. Those people will undoubtedly fail to get into the college placement schools, so they might have to go to vocational school, but then those people won't have the discipline to learn a skilled trade either. So, what do? Well, here I guess somebody's got to clean the toilets and mop the floors. There's always going to be a Wagie class, I suppose. And speaking of Wagies, we're going to be talking about that a little bit. And this also ties to the structure of the day-to-day schooling. Obviously grading is essential. I'm not in favor of detracking. But yeah, let's de-emphasize pointless busy work. A lot of, kids, especially boys, especially like high IQ boys, the ones that, make great scientific discoveries. Yeah, they get incredibly bored by just pointless, busy work and things like that, especially as little kids. And I speak from experience. Give the kids readings to do in the text. Focus on discussions and actual learning. The only subjects that really need homework are the ones that are explicitly skills, like, mathematics, engineering. I would even say, like, writing technical documents, lab reports, etc. And those are the only classes that really need assignments, too. Like, I don't really think I learned any history from worksheets. You learn it by reading. In other words, engineering tasks, yes, homework. Dissections, yes, classwork. Or possibly homework. Chemistry mixtures, yes, in class. Stupid worksheets, no. Yeah, it also means less work for the teachers so they can focus more on, teaching. Yeah, I'll just say it. Teachers, like I said, I was just saying how teachers do deserve at least some of the blame because a lot of them are garbage. But yeah, even the good teachers, wink, wink, myself, are massively hamstrung by all the stupid, student learning objectives they got to fill out and the constant, changing of textbooks and the educations of, the learning objectives and the small learning communities and the constant changing of the entire school methodology every 5 years or so. Again, it's all done to close that damn achievement gap in the demographics. And it's not going to stop until that gap closes. And of course, when the gap inevitably does close, it's going to be closed by dragging everybody down into the depths of the abyss and turning everybody into feral morons. Oh, God, I hate administrators so much. I mean, I think I've mentioned it once or twice, but bureaucracy is just like legit one of the things I hate more than anything in the world. And teaching administration is very much included in that. Oh, and by the way, speaking of writing classes, when it comes to that, let's focus more on being able to convey a point and be coherent and readable, rather than the goddamn MLA standards. Grammar, syntax, punctuation, and vocabulary are much more important than formatting. And fun fact, you'll learn all the vocabulary you ever need to know if you read good books. I've always said that you can learn more vocab from reading one H.P. Lovecraft or Robert Howard story than you can in 100 English courses, and I stand by that. Why, yes, all of my SAT studying for vocabulary was just reading Conan the Barbarian stories. Well, Seed Punk Messiah, you are about half hour late. I've been talking about the school system, as the title of the stream would imply. Yeah, I know that I've been kind of changing up the times a little bit. One of my piano students wanted 10 a.m., but next week it's going to be back to the normal time in the morning, 10 a.m., because, they're changing the schedule again. So, hopefully it'll normalize itself. In fact, I was talking about formatting. Yeah, formatting is I've honestly found formatting to be kind of useless beyond, just having a basic level of readability. Like, oh, these margins are 1.5 inches. They're supposed to be 1.25 inches. You fail, sir. Like, shut up. Like, my idea when it comes to formatting is your stuff indented? Is it broken up into paragraphs? Is it readable? Okay, good. You formatted properly. Now, let's read the thing to see if you said anything actually intelligent. Yeah, MLA standards are for hunched-over little narrow-chested pedantic weenies. The kind of guys that become UX researchers and corporate ass-kissers. Yes, I am still annoyed at my college bio classes in which I got A's on the exams, and I performed dissections and experiments like a champ. But the lab sections dragged my grades down a solid 10 points due to stupid formatting crap. It was legible, damn you. Ahem. Yeah, speaking of Bobby Howard and Howie Lovecraft, you're damn right I'd be bringing Pulp Fiction to the schools. Pulp Fiction is a uniquely American cultural art form, and it ought to be celebrated from the rooftops. Like, oh no, it's not politically correct, the weenies would complain. Yeah, it's better that we give the kids unreadable beige garbage to read, unless we create yet another generation of morons that can't read and they have no desire to read. Okay, Danny Summers says, I learned more about health and fitness from the Manosphere than I did from gym class. Hey, yeah, that's basically true. I mean, I just kind of gape in awe at that old La Sierra fitness program that they used to have in high schools, and that was amazing. And yeah, I know it was low-key training the kids to fight the Soviets, but still, I mean, an entire gym class that looks like the Navy SEALs is amazing. C-Punk Messiah says that bureaucracy sucks. I don't know, I guess bureaucracy just tends to attract these sort of, petty tyrants, the kind of people that, are in the DMV or in school administration, just awful, awful people, the worst people on the goddamn planet. I mean, yeah, if you want to sum it up in a sentence, the problem with education is very similar to the problems with the field of anthropology. That it's run by these just terrible, noodle-armed weenies who obsess over pedantry, but they have no skills beyond being little sycophantic little dweebs. The type. I always like to say that the kind of people that become bureaucrats are the kind of kid that When the lights shut off in elementary school, they would just start screaming for no reason. They know all the little rules of how to format or write or whatever, but you have no knowledge of the field, and you don't know anything except stupid formatting rules, and God, I hate those people. I hate these people so damn much. The middle managerial type, and we'll get to them in a little bit, but I digress. Okay, exams. Exams should be given out every 3 months or so to test the knowledge. Quarterly exams are good, and you got the midterms and finals, of course. Again, assuming that the teachers know what the hell they're doing, they should be able to make the courses interesting enough so the kids are willing to learn. Discipline should be strict but fair and meted out evenly. And by all means, be sure to bring on useless diversity consultants to talk about racial disparity in disciplining or whatever. So that way you have an alibi when the disciplining rates might possibly, and I specify might, end up being disparate based on race, as they inevitably seem to be due to some kind of indescribable magical ether in the air. That way you can say we all know about the statistics, we're doling out discipline as fairly as we can. Okay, let's see. My dear friend Ponythroat says, at least you didn't get banned from chemistry class because you kept combining it with electronics and carpentry, nitrate circuits and nails. Yeah, let's not make pipe bombs in class, children. Give me 1 second here. I have to change my website to put the new link for the stream. There we go. Actually, yeah, I'm actually getting more of a turnout doing it at this time than I did at 10. I don't know, it's more convenient for me, but I also want to get more audience participation. But then again, if I get more people, it's going to have audience participation anyway. But whatever, I'll deal with that another time. Yeah, so once we're done with the disciplinary program, we can get rid of the useless redundant positions like, 5 assistant principals and disciplinarians and etc. All these dumbass sinecure positions. Empower the principal and assistant principal as disciplinarians. And yeah, I'll just say it. It is every teacher's dream to one day just be able to beat the shit out of a student and, have legal justification to do so. I mean, what? And while we're at it, let's get rid of the teachers. We were doing a lot of deadwood cleaning here. Let's get rid of the teachers who don't know the field they're supposed to be teaching. Just bring in a professional to talk to them about it for 10 minutes, and you'll figure out pretty quick if they have any clue of what they're doing. What I mean is, if they claim to be a biology teacher, go to the nearest college and bring in a bio PhD to yak to them about it, for a few minutes. Obviously, they're not going to be on a PhD level, but to be a public school teacher, you should have at least a bachelor's in that field, so, you should know the basics of what they're talking about. Ditto for chemistry, English, history, foreign language, whatever. Get rid of the garbage teachers. Get rid of weenie administrators. Maybe if you did that, you wouldn't have to buy new books and laptops and what have you every year. You could just, I don't know, use the stuff that already works. Okay, so yeah. That long-ass diatribe was my rough, quick and dirty idea of what can be done to, if not totally fix American schools, then put a sizable dent in the suck. You'll notice that at least some of this ties into the, the notion of bullshit jobs. The idea of, not creating useless busy work to stroke the egos of the pedantic little weenies. Those are, broadly speaking, the two forces that are gang-banging American rationality right now. From the top down, you have the pedantic weenies. And from the bottom up, you have the feral morons. What is that but if not in narco-tyranny? Okay, so finally, I'm not done with the stream, but I am done talking about the school system. So we can either do my idea, or everybody can get an education that's not worth 2 tugs of a dead dog's cock, and then go on to a life of working gigs for the benevolent mega corporations. The future presents to you 2 choices. Pick one. And speaking of our benevolent mega corporations, it's time for the weekly Wagies Posting L's segment. I would have a little musical drop to herald this segment in, except for the fact that, using Streamlabs, there's always a delay, and I'm not entirely sure of how long it is. So, once I get better at playing the trumpet, I'll, give a little fanfare. Anyway, this week, in order to thank their hardworking employees over this past winter, Lowe's of Yonkers, New York, gave everybody a small bag of chips taped to their locker. Wagie, you are all that and a bag of chips. Thanks, boss. We bust our asses, and you thank us by literally spending $1 on junk food. And they didn't even spell the phrase right. I swear to you, it's printed on the bag. You are all that and bag of chips. Not and a bag of chips, just and bag of chips. Thank you, corporation. Okay, let's see. Ponythroat says, to test foreign language teachers, bring a variety of foreigners and see if they can comprehend them. Bring back human zoos for the kids. Yes, let's do human zoos. I mean, for employment, like, they do bring in, actual, they have, like, adjudicators to test people's foreign language skills. If you claim on your resume, like, oh, I know, French or Spanish or Chinese or whatever. I mean, I've had some teachers that didn't know a damn thing in school, so, I don't know, maybe they don't do that in schools. Well, for a corporate gig, that actually matters, unlike teaching. But yeah, that chip thing really annoyed me. I mean, I used to work for a moving company a few years ago. I was secretly making videos while doing that, but I wasn't doing live streams yet. Yeah, I used to work for a moving company, hauling ass, like moving furniture all day, every day. I mean, doing backbreaking labor for like 14, 15-hour days kind of sucks. But even then, like, they would shell out for sandwiches or pizza pretty frequently when we got back to the office. And that was like a relatively small company. I mean, this is a big corporation, Lowe's. And you can't even give them, like, sandwiches at least. You gotta give them little dollar bags of chips. There's another company, which the name I didn't see. They've set up VR masturbation pods. I have no idea who in their right mind has to get up from their desk, their daily work duties to go rub one out. But apparently that's the case. That's the case here. I mean, are we all just creating a nation of coomers? And another company lectured somebody on their pronouns while stuck in an elevator. A text went out on Slack. Guys, help, I'm stuck in the lift. Guys is a gendered term. Please use y'all or folks. Folx. Folks. There's something I find really distasteful about, like, really, like, yuppie, like, rich douchebags using the term y'all. Something about that just seems incredibly disrespectful to me. Like, I have friends that live in Alabama, Louisiana, like Texas, and I don't know, just it seems like you're almost kind of mocking their accents. Okay. Ponythroat says, imagine being a biology teacher and not knowing what a medial ring is. Yes, that's very important. Those that that pubic sling of muscles here. Okay, C Punk Messiah. Do you think that combat skills should be considered a vital life skill? Yes, I do. Not entirely sure if you should be learning that in school. I mean, yeah, I mean, I absolutely think school should have, like, martial arts clubs. They should have wrestling clubs. They should have, things like that. Boxing clubs. And yes, ideally, I think every boy, and yeah, girls too, but boys especially, should know how to fight. I mean, that helps society out a lot if, everybody could knock your ass out. There's going to be a lot less rudeness and general, douchebaggery in the world, I'll tell you that. Okay, yeah, and yes, going back to the Wagies, another company has some kind of exam employees have to take. A question on the exam. Over 70% of workers are unhappy with their jobs. Who is to blame for this? The guy selected the employers, which is wrong. The correct answer is yourself. Only who can prevent forest fires? Beep. You've selected you, referring to me. That is incorrect. The correct answer is you. So remember, kids, if you're miserable and you hate yourself in your day-to-day life, well, that's your own fault, Wagie. You need to learn to love your corporate overlords. And somewhere, Franz Kafka has a massive erection. Well, gee, I just don't understand why there's this anti-work subreddit, and I don't understand why people don't want to work anymore. Couldn't possibly be because employees are treated like absolute garbage on a daily basis, and they're paid garbage wages, her. Wow, I just don't understand why employees go on shooting rampages in America. But, we all know it's just those awful incels, Susan. Oh boy, I'm glad I got out of that wagey life. And now it slowly dawns on you why the education system is such garbage. It's because they want a population of morons who are willing and eager to take potato chips instead of Christmas bonuses. And they're willing to do the Grubhub dance and do the stupid, We Are Walmart pep rallies. People who find fulfillment in their crappy wagey jobs. Gin-smelling tears ran down his face. He had won the struggle over himself. He loved Big Brother. Oh, God, somebody just put this country out of its misery already. Kidding, Susan. Yeah, since we're kind of talking about America now, I'll just say it. I feel like at least some of the crap in American culture would be ameliorated if they just kept the slogan as life, liberty, and property, instead of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Property is concrete. Property is something that has a clear definition. Like, what the hell is the pursuit of happiness? The pursuit of happiness is some weesh, touchy-feely garbage that justifies all the keeping up with the Joneses crap that people mock America for, and justifiably so. Yeah, I deserve to be on TV, so I'm going to make an ass of myself on YouTube. It's my pursuit of happiness, I'm going to flap my hairy buttocks in front of children. It's my pursuit of happiness, derp. I'm going to sell out the whole country so it becomes a gigantic, disgusting strip mall, and I can elect the new people and make millions of dollars for my own personal life. I'm a politician. This is my pursuit of happiness. Hurdy-dur. Okay, Ponythroat says that somebody left a bag of chips in my locker. He might find a suspicious crockpot in his car. Yeah, no. That's not entirely an unfounded, an unfounded reaction. And yes, I did. Yes, I did have a very terrible time working in personal training, and yes, I was really tempted to put my fist through the wall, but thankfully I didn't. Yeah, going back to the whole pursuit of happiness thing, Mr. Jefferson, I respect you immensely. I will defend you from all the assholes trying to cut you down, but, yeah, you screwed the pooch on this one, pal. Well, I've made pioneering strides in engineering and invention, stratigraphy, and archaeology. What the hell, I'll try to coin poetic turns of phrase, too. I'm Thomas Jefferson, and I can do whatever the hell I want. I'm really smart. Just like the cotton gin, the pursuit of happiness. A little smart-ass invention that made everybody's life a lot worse. Okay, let's get off this extremely depressing topic and move on to slightly less depressing topics. It's 2022. Everything sucks and everything's miserable. There's going to be yet another Star Trek show on TV, a new one, which brings up to 4 Star Treks running simultaneously. I don't know why they're doing 4, considering that none of the ones that are on the air now are good at all, and I have no idea who's watching these. The newest one is Strange New Worlds, and the tagline on the poster is The Frontier Awaits or something like that. I'm honestly extremely surprised they could get away with a tagline like that in this day and age. Well, actually, the frontier mythos is, like, bad, and white people are evil and racist for conquering the frontier. They're already giving spoilers away for Season 2 of that crap. They haven't even aired season 1 yet, and spoilers, I so don't care, but a young James T. Kirk will be in it. The main character is ostensibly Captain Pike. Yes, a young Captain Kirk, played by an actor who is in fact older than William Shatner was in the original series. Okay, yeah, how does it feel to see all your favorite franchises go up in flames? It feels great, Rich. Okay, let's see. Ponythroat says they changed it from proper titty so we're not like they wanted people to burn coal, so to speak. Well, yes, that is that is also property. And by the way, Ponythroat, when it's WMBW, it's called oil drilling. Thank you. Coal burning's the other way around. Yeah, I've done a little oil drilling myself. What? Yes, but seriously, let's talk about something positive. In my personal life, and yes, I am noticing that as my life gets better, the world gets worse, which is not a good sign. Yeah. I, for the first time in my life, baked something successfully this past week. Okay, granted it was hardtack, but it still counts. Then I had one of those shit biscuits to test it out. It survived a full force slam against the counter and it cut up the inside of my mouth, so clearly I made it the right way. Do I have any interest in baking things beyond, like, flatbread and hardtack? Probably not. And is it weird that I like eating raw dough a bit? My go-to food is fried rice because it requires only the most basic of efforts. But I might start making bread in the future. And by bread, I mean like Johnny cakes or other things that poor hillbillies eat because, to hell with it, that's why. Unpretentious Americana is my favorite cuisine. And as this country goes to hell in a handbasket around us, let's not forget that we were an actual country at one point, and despite the fact that it's been largely forgotten, we do have a culture and a heritage worth celebrating. But speaking of food, I was at the grocery store the other day, and I have to ask, who in the actual hell drinks clam juice? There are multiple brands of clam juice, and it boggles my mind. I mean, there's clam juice in a can, there's clamato juice. Like, who drinks this? Who was sitting down one day and said, you know what I need in my mouth? The savory taste of liquid clams. I know it's allegedly used for cocktails, but, like, why? And here I was thinking it was a joke in that one Simpsons episode that Homer drank multiple cans of crab juice instead of Mountain Dew. Apparently people want that delicious mollusk juice. And yes, I know crabs are crustaceans and clams are mollusks. Bite me. Ponythroat asks about Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Captain Pike before or after he became a water cooler? Well, it's after. I'm sorry, before. Jeez, I'm an idiot. Before. It's before he became the water cooler. He's still a normal person at this point. So, yeah, I mean, I was at the grocery store, as you can imagine, because in the midst of all this pandemic nonsense, I've suddenly gotten into expanding my cooking repertoire. Taking that bread pill and such, plus it helps that I can make gifts for people and not spend any money on it. I mean, what? Yeah, I've also recently discovered that condensed milk is the shit. It's dirt cheap, it's tasty sweet, actually has some modicum of nutritional value unlike most sweets, and you can use it in a variety of baking and other such. But yeah, I officially never have to buy anybody a real gift again. I can just make them some candy or write them a song. They'll love it because it's handmade and I save money. Win-win. Well, all this talk about the school system and clam juice, and I've ignored the Ukraine thing. Russia seems to be bogged down in a bloody slog in the fighting. And from what I've gathered, morale is low because, well, they're basically fighting their cultural cousins, and that's rather discomforting. I mean, so to do fighting, Putin is reportedly bringing in 16,000 Syrian mercenaries to fight in Ukraine. Boy, that's a good sign. No empire has ever made the brilliant decision to bring in foreign barbarian mercenaries to do fighting for them. That's going to be great. Meanwhile, Vladimir Zelensky comes to America and invokes 9/11, Pearl Harbor, and Martin Luther King to get us to help him out. Wow, it's really amazing how foreigners will constantly just crap on America and tell us like we have no history at all, and then invoke our glorious history the second they need us. Yeah, I'm sorry. I've never understood this concept of like America has literally no history. Like, what do you idiots think was going on here since the 1600s? That argument doesn't make any sense. Like, did something happen, like literally anything anywhere? Congratulations, that's history. I mean, look, if you were to argue that American history is entirely shameful and disgraceful, I mean, that is a coherent and logical argument. I don't agree with it, but in a rhetorical sense, that at least makes sense. But to say that history doesn't exist at all, like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, what are you saying? That settlers came and just floated in a gray void for 400 years? And speaking of history, okay, got some talk about clam juice here. C-Punk Messiah says the JonTron clip of him drinking clam juice is pretty hilarious. I haven't really seen too much of JonTron, to be honest. I used to watch Two Best Friends play before they broke up. But yeah, I'll have to check that out. Okay, Ponythroat says, is drinking clam juice a euphemism as an act performed on a woman by men with little self-respect? Yeah, no, it might be. Okay, well, actually, I believe that's called oyster diving. Okay, C-Punk Messiah's talked about my recent video talking about the 442nd Battalion. Here's the thing, like, I don't think that was really an example of them saying, like, they couldn't fight. Like, I did mention them in some previous videos. Like, I did a video years ago about is stereotyping beneficial. I talked a lot about the 442nd Infantry. And I think I mentioned them in the first one of those videos, actually. But, yeah, I mean, the issue with them, it wasn't that they couldn't fight. It was more that they were disloyal. So I was specifically looking up examples of people saying, like, they can't fight. Not just, Asians doing cool things in general. I'm well aware of the 442nd. I have mentioned them in the past. I did also an article on my website about the movie Go for Broke, which is not particularly good, but it is, a biopic about them, made in the 50s, actually. It was to show that, America is at the least capable of admitting that they mess up sometimes. Ponythroat says, make him a pat roast. Maybe I will. And then Ponythroat also goes on to say, the fact that Russia is asking China for MREs to fight a country that it shares a border with, just it might not spend their logistics budget on yachts. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you got to go to the French Riviera and bring hookers, Years ago, I used to browse the weapons and like military board on 4chan. They had a post of like Chinese MREs. It was just like this slop in a tin. I don't know if they're still doing that. I should watch that guy I know on YouTube. He like eats MREs. I'm gonna look that up right now, actually. Let's see, Steve 1989. Let's look at what. Okay, yeah. So they do have like proper MREs in China, but I think I watched one of these videos. It was like it came out kind of moldy. So yeah, you know you're in bad shape when you're asking communist China for MREs. Yeah, it's in all honesty, I think if Russia hangs in there, they will win just by sheer force of attrition. But it's not going to be a good look for them. Let's put it that way. Yes, C-Punk, I am aware of Ho Yuan-ja. I know about him too. I mean, like I said, if I went to like every example, it would be there for like an hour. I just picked like 10 kind of explicit military communiques where they said so. And yeah, I don't like going over the same topics over and over again. So, I discussed that. Oh yeah, and speaking of, okay, we're getting a little off topic here, but yeah, going back to history, the Space Foundation, I don't know what that is entirely, but Space Foundation strips Yuri Gagarin of his honors posthumously because derp, he's Russian. Yes, let's strip a man of one of humanity's greatest achievements because he comes from a country we don't like. And it would be like saying, I don't like America, so I'm going to take away Norman Borlaug's Nobel Peace Prize for saving billions of third world lives with his new breeds of cereal grains. What kind of an idiot thing is that? As we discussed, with regards to the Ukraine issue, I don't support America sending soldiers. Funding, yes. Weapons sales, yes. But actual men and materiel, no. Anyway, he made this appeal and Congress gave him a huge, roaring, standing ovation. Which is just wonderful. It's glad to see bipartisan consensus is back. Please just let us go to war and kill things. Speaking of crimes against humanity, Limp Bizkit is going on tour in North America 2022 in the aptly titled Still Sucks Tour. Unless they plan on somehow recreating WrestleMania 17, I have less than no interest. And speaking of athletic dickery, Leah Thomas wins the NCAA women's swimming despite being a man. Magically, she jumped up like 300 ranks in swimming when she went from he to she. And that's just wonderful, Susan. I would advise this, tall, broad-shouldered, powerful swimmer to maybe make a little more effort in looking like a lady. Okay, Ponythroat says Chinese MREs, low quality, is based on doctrine. Field kitchens with primary PLA food source. This was changed after that earthquake showed them they need portable foods. Alright, good to know. Okay, so, in miscellaneous effluvia, how about that daylight savings time? It's apparently going to be made permanent, thus getting rid of it, which is fine, I suppose. Although I am also hearing that they tried to do permanent daylight savings in the 70s and nobody liked it. I mean, as long as we're doing some rejection of Woodrow Wilson's dickery, that's fine. But there's a lot more rejected to go, so let's get on to that rejecting interventionism thing. Anyway, that wraps up my prepared remarks. I have piano lessons to teach in about an hour or so. Now, whether or not you people have anything else to say will determine whether I bike there or whether I drive there. Okay, let's see. C-Punk Messiah asks, what martial arts styles have I studied? I have studied Sancho Kung Fu, and I've studied Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. What's a style I would love to train in? I'd really love to learn like some kind of weapon style. Like, some kind of sword fighting myself. Because, once you learn, your basic, once you learn hand-to-hand combat, there's really not that much difference between styles. At least the styles that are worth a damn. Ponythroat says, Limp Bizkit's cover of Behind Blue Eyes is better than the original. I don't know. It's, that band died out for a reason. Alright, so, time to wrap things up. If you have anything else to say, I'm going to give you a minute to say it. And if not, I'll be heading out. Ponythroat says you cannot add more daylight to the earth. Well, you have to understand, Woodrow Wilson was very much a sort of, He is exactly the kind of, like, pedantic, you know, micromanaging weenie that I was talking about. And he probably did genuinely think that, he could add more daylight to the earth. Now the question is, are all pedantic weenies as horribly racist as him? Perhaps. I can't help but notice that a lot of the genocidaires throughout history have been, kind of tweedy little glasses wearing geeks. Okay, C Punk Messiah says, thank you for doing the Failstones videos because it's helped me not know that I'm not doing too bad in life because I'm not them. Yeah, yeah. But just, don't. I mean, that is sort of like, it's a good thing, certainly, but don't take that as an excuse to slack off, buddy. Ponythroat says I should take the bike. Die historic on the Fury Road. Actually, sir, I take side roads, thank you. Alrighty, so I'll wrap things up here. Does society need... Okay, Ponythroat says, does society need more pride marches? Now, do you mean more pride marches, or do you mean actual pride marches for people that are into being eaten as a fetish? Because, I don't know, I'm okay with either one, to be honest. Yeah, I'm okay with people doing their own thing as long as it doesn't bother people. Well, that's good, Steve. I'm not accusing you of slacking. I'm just saying, like, studies have shown that people who watch, like, Jerry Springer, those other kind of, like, trash shows, are like, well, I'm not doing too bad. I'm watching these morons on TV. So, even though I do provide that, but, yeah, like, keep on reaching for the stars. Ponythroat clarifies, vor with a V. Well, yeah, I mean, if that's your fetish, I don't have a problem with that. You do you. Alrighty, so I think we're kind of done here. So for Larsen Halleck, I'm Larsen Halleck. You all have a good day. Get my chap out. What the... I have no idea what you're talking about. I was opening up a medicine bag. I was gonna cut my nails after this. Note to self: don't do things other than talk. Yes, it's my after stream ritual. I just pull it out and start, furiously beating off. Anyway, I'm done here. So for Larsen Halleck, I'm Larsen Halleck. Have a good day, everybody.